Hey everyone, it's Abdul Wahab here and welcome back to proawplayer, where we dive deep into the world of gaming. Now, I know most of us can't get enough of the brutal yet satisfying challenge of Soulslike games. And yeah, FromSoftware pretty much perfected the formula with Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. But let's be real, the genre has grown far beyond FromSoftware's masterpieces. Today, we're stepping into a world of incredible Souls-like experiences that aren't made by FromSoftware. These games have taken that ruthless combat, intricate level design, and dark atmosphere we all love and put their own unique spin on it. Whether you're after something more fast-paced, more story-driven, or just looking for fresh ways to test your skills, I've got you covered. So, if you think you've seen it all when it comes to Souls-like games, get ready to be surprised. Let's jump right in. Mortal Shell is one of those games that feels like a love letter to hardcore Souls-like fans, but with a twist that keeps it feeling fresh. You're tossed into this grim, haunting world where death feels almost inevitable, but that's where the thrill lies. The combat? It's brutal, deliberate, and punishing in the best way possible. But here's the kicker. The whole shell mechanic. Instead of traditional leveling up, you inhabit the bodies of fallen warriors, each with its own strengths and playstyles. It's such a clever approach that keeps you experimenting and adapting. The atmosphere is thick with dread and mystery, pulling you into its darkly beautiful world that feels both familiar and unsettling. And the way the game forces you to master patience and precision, it's like a brutal dance where every move matters. But it's not just about the challenge. It's the satisfaction of slowly unraveling the world's secrets, of mastering each shell and turning the tide against enemies that seemed impossible to beat. If you're looking for a Souls-like that dares to be different while still embracing everything that makes the genre so damn captivating, Mortal Shell is an experience you don't want to miss. Want me to write descriptions for the other 19 games with the same passionate, natural tone? Nioh is an absolute beast of a game that takes the Souls-like formula and infuses it with pure, relentless samurai action. It's set in a war-torn, demon-infested Japan. And let me tell you, the atmosphere is just dripping with tension and brutality. But what really makes Nioh stand out is its combat system. It's fast, precise, and insanely deep. You've got these 3 stances to switch between: high, mid, and low. And mastering them feels like learning a deadly dance. It's all about timing, strategy, and adapting to every enemy you face. But the customization? That's where things get even more addicting. From skill trees to weapon types to insane loot drops, it's a playground for anyone who loves fine-tuning their playstyle. And the bosses? Man, they don't mess around. Each one feels like a major event, demanding every bit of focus and skill you've got. What's crazy is how rewarding it feels when you finally bring down a tough enemy, or make it through an area that's been destroying you for hours. That satisfaction of overcoming impossible odds is just next level. If you're a fan of punishing but fair gameplay and love diving into rich, lore-heavy worlds, Nioh is an experience you absolutely need to have. Want me to continue with the other games in the same gripping style? Salt and Sanctuary is proof that 2D games can be just as brutal, complex, and atmospheric as any big-budget Souls-like. This game nails that dark, oppressive vibe right from the start, throwing you into a world that feels like a twisted nightmare. come to life. But what really blew me away is how flawlessly it translates that hardcore methodical combat into a side-scrolling experience. It's all about timing, patience, and nailing that perfect dodge or parry. And the build variety? Insanely impressive. You can go full-on heavy weapon brute, a swift and agile assassin, or even dabble in creepy magic that feels disturbingly powerful. The world building here is just top tier too. Every area feels interconnected, with hidden paths and shortcuts waiting to be discovered. And the lore? Man, it's scattered everywhere, inviting you to piece together the tragic history of this fallen world. The bosses are as punishing as they are memorable, each one a twisted monstrosity that demands focus and skill to bring down. Salt and Sanctuary feels like a love letter to the hardcore gaming community, delivering that signature soul-crushing challenge, but with its own unique flavor. If you're a sucker for grim atmospheres, deep combat systems, and the thrill of finally crushing a boss that's been wrecking you for hours, this one's absolutely worth your time. Want me to keep the momentum going with the other games? Blasphemous is hands down one of the most atmospheric and unapologetically brutal games out there. From the moment you step into its twisted, nightmarish world, you feel this overwhelming sense of dread and beauty clashing together. The art style alone is like a haunting masterpiece, with its grotesque yet gorgeous pixel art bringing every horrific detail to life. And let's not even get started on the combat. It's sharp, precise, and unforgiving in all the right ways. Every encounter feels like a test of your skill, where timing and patience are everything. What really pulled me in, though, was the world building. This isn't just some random dark fantasy setting. It's a lore-rich universe built around religious themes twisted into something horrifying and captivating. The storytelling is subtle but powerful, with cryptic NPCs and item descriptions that lure you into piecing together the tragedy of this cursed world. And the bosses? Pure nightmare fuel. Each one feels like a handcrafted monstrosity, not just designed to kill you, but to utterly demoralize you. But the moment you finally conquer them, that rush of victory is something else. If you're craving a dark, atmospheric Soulslike that isn't afraid to punish you while leaving you in awe of its twisted beauty, Blasphemous is a must-play. Want me to keep the same energy going with the rest of the games? Ashen is one of those hidden gems that just hits different. It's got that familiar Souls-like challenge, but with a style and atmosphere all its own. The minimalist art style feels strangely beautiful and eerie, with a world bathed in soft, muted colors that somehow makes everything feel more haunting. The combat is tough and unforgiving, rewarding patience, timing, and skill just like you'd hope. But it's the exploration that really grabbed me. Every new area feels like an adventure, filled with secrets, hostile creatures, and allies who can either help or leave you to fend for yourself. And speaking of allies, Ashen's AI companion system is something special. Whether you're teaming up with real players or NPCs, the experience feels so organic and unpredictable. It adds this incredible sense of community and isolation at the same time, making your journey feel like a desperate struggle to survive in a world on the edge of collapse. But it's not just about hacking and slashing your way through enemies. Ashen nails that sense of world building, with lore tucked away in conversations and environmental details that slowly reveal a story of hope and despair. It's a journey that feels personal, like you're piecing together something greater with each step forward. If you're looking for a Souls-like experience that feels fresh yet still respects what makes the genre great, Ashen is absolutely worth your time. It's all about forging your own path, discovering your own stories, and embracing that brutal yet beautiful world. Want me to write the next one with the same captivating energy? Nioh 2 takes everything that made the first game amazing and cranks it up to 11. It's a brutal, unforgiving beast of an action RPG that rewards skill and perseverance like nothing else. The combat is insanely deep and satisfying, with a huge arsenal of weapons and skills that let you shape your playstyle however you want. But the real kicker? The yokai abilities. Transforming into these devastating supernatural forms to turn the tide of battle is pure adrenaline. It's that perfect mix of strategy and chaos, forcing you to adapt constantly and push your limits. The world building is phenomenal too. It's set in this beautifully twisted version of Sengoku-era Japan, crawling with monstrous demons and breathtaking landscapes. And the boss fights? Oh man, they're nothing short of epic. Every encounter feels like a deadly dance where timing, precision, and nerves of steel are everything. The lore is rich and layered, but it doesn't force itself on you. You discover it through exploration and hard-fought victories. And the co-op system is a blast. Whether you're teaming up with friends or summoning allies, it adds a whole new level of excitement and unpredictability to the experience. Nioh 2 is all about mastering your skills, embracing the challenge, and feeling that sweet, satisfying rush when you finally bring down a seemingly impossible enemy. If you love Souls-like games but crave something with a faster, more dynamic combat system, Nioh 2 is an absolute must-play. It's punishing, rewarding, and just plain awesome. Want me to write the next one with the same captivating energy? Thymesia is an absolute gem for anyone craving a dark, brutal Souls-like experience with a unique twist. It throws you into a plague-ravaged world where death lurks around every corner, and your only way to survive is to master its fast-paced, high-risk combat system. What really stands out here is the plague weapon mechanic. Stealing your enemy's powers and turning their own attacks against them, that's pure genius. And incredibly satisfying when you pull it off mid-fight. The combat feels razor-sharp and responsive, rewarding aggression and skillful timing like nothing else. But what really hooked me is how the game demands you to stay on your toes constantly. It's all about perfecting those parries, dodging with precision, and countering your enemy's every move. And the atmosphere? It's drenched in this grim, oppressive beauty that keeps you on edge, making every step forward feel like an achievement. Thymesia isn't just about tough combat though. It's got this rich, mysterious lore waiting to be uncovered, pieced together through exploration and hard-won victories. And the boss fights? They're intense, chaotic, and so well designed that beating them feels like a real accomplishment. If you're looking for a Souls-like that doesn't just copy the formula but adds its own brutal creative spin, Thymesia is a must-play. It's punishing, but the thrill of mastering its combat is more than worth it. Want me to write the next one with the same passion? Code Vein is an absolute blast for anyone craving a Souls-like experience with a unique anime-inspired twist. This game dives headfirst into a post-apocalyptic world filled with brutal enemies and massive jaw-dropping bosses. But what really makes Code Vein special is how it combines punishing combat with deep character customization. You can shape your own playstyle with an insane variety of weapons, blood codes, and abilities, making every encounter feel fresh and personal. And let's talk about the AI companion system. Unlike most games, your partner here isn't just some tag-along. They genuinely help you in combat, offering healing and backup when you need it most. It adds a layer of strategy that makes every fight feel more dynamic. Plus, the lore is surprisingly rich, with every blood-soaked corner hiding secrets waiting to be uncovered. The art style? It's gorgeous and haunting, a blend of beauty and brutality that sticks with you. And the combat? It's fast, fluid, and incredibly satisfying when you pull off a perfect dodge or devastating counterattack. Whether you're diving into the intricate upgrade system or facing down monstrous bosses, Code Vein constantly keeps you on your toes. If you're hunting for a Souls-like experience that does its own thing while delivering all the challenge and thrill you love, Code Vein is absolutely worth your time. Want me to tackle the next one with the same energy? Hellpoint is a dark and twisted gem that pulls you into the depths of cosmic horror like few games can. It's like someone took the unforgiving challenge of Souls-like combat and fused it with a mind-bending sci-fi world set on a derelict space station called Irid Novo. The atmosphere alone is insane. Eerie corridors bathed in blood-red light, grotesque creatures lurking in the shadows, and an overwhelming sense of isolation that keeps you on edge from start to finish. But what really makes Hellpoint stand out is its insane level of unpredictability. The game's unique real-time clock system changes how enemies behave and where certain events unfold, making the world feel alive and deadly in ways you can't always anticipate. It's got that perfect blend of mystery and danger that keeps you hungry to explore every corner, even when you know something terrifying could be waiting around the next bend. Combat is brutal and unforgiving, but the deep customization options let you approach every fight your way. Want to go in heavy and crush everything in your path? Sure. Prefer a fast-paced, precision-based style? That's just as viable. And the lore? Man, it's deep. Piecing together the twisted story of Irid Novo feels like uncovering a forbidden truth you were never meant to know. If you're looking for a Souls-like that dares to be different, one that challenges your skill and sanity in equal measure, Hellpoint is an experience you don't want to miss. Want me to hit the next one with the same energy? The Surge 2 is one of those games that just hooks you with its relentless, fast-paced combat and crazy deep customization. It's got this brutal sci-fi dystopian vibe where everything's falling apart and you're thrown right into the chaos. But what makes it so special is the combat system. The limb targeting mechanic is pure genius. It's not just about hacking away at enemies, it's about carefully picking them apart, dismantling their gear piece by piece, and using it to make yourself even stronger. And the world of Jericho City? It's massive, dangerous, and filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. The level design nails that interconnected feeling, where every shortcut you unlock feels like a reward for surviving the madness. Plus, the enemies are relentless, from crazed scavengers to towering mechanical beasts that can shred you in seconds if you're not on your toes. What I love most is how every encounter feels meaningful. You're constantly weighing your risks, deciding whether to keep pushing forward or head back to a safe spot and bank your progress. The adrenaline rush of barely making it out alive, dragging yourself to the next safe zone with your hard-earned loot, is something few games capture this well. And the sheer freedom to build your character how you want, it's fantastic. Whether you're going for a lightning-fast, dual-wielding style or a tanky powerhouse build, the Surge 2 lets you experiment and create something that feels truly yours. If you're after an action RPG that rewards skill, patience, and creativity, this game is a must-play. Ready for me to hit the next one with the same passion? Grime is an absolute gem that just pulls you into its hauntingly beautiful, yet twisted world. It's one of those games where you dive in, and suddenly hours have flown by because you're so hooked. The art style is insane. Everything feels alive, grotesque, and mesmerizing all at once. It's like walking through a nightmare that you can't help but be fascinated by. But what really blew me away was the combat. It's so precise and unforgiving, yet so satisfying when you nail it. The parry absorb mechanic is genius. It's not just about dodging and striking. It's about mastering your timing, absorbing enemies' essence, and turning their own power against them. It makes every fight feel like this tactical dance where skill and patience are everything. And the world building? It's absolutely top tier. It's like every corner you turn, you find something that makes you question everything you thought you knew about this surreal universe. The atmosphere is thick with mystery, making exploration feel both thrilling and unsettling. Plus, the character progression is spot on. The way you sculpt your character's abilities through absorbing enemies adds this crazy sense of growth and power. It's like every boss you take down just makes you more of a force to be reckoned with. Grime isn't just another action RPG, it's an experience. It's challenging, addictive, and so rewarding when you finally overcome what felt impossible. If you're into games that push you to your limits while pulling you into a world that's as intriguing as it is horrifying, you've got to give Grime a shot. Want me to keep the hype going with more of these? Steelrising is such an underrated gem that deserves way more attention. Imagine stepping into an alternate history where Paris is under siege by crazed, mechanical monstrosities, and you're this incredibly agile, combat-ready automaton with a seriously cool set of skills. The atmosphere is just phenomenal. It's like exploring a twisted mechanical nightmare of 18th century Paris. And the combat? It's so satisfying. It feels weighty and precise, with that perfect mix of timing, dodging, and brutal strikes. But what really pulls you in is the customization. Crafting your own fighting style with all these insane weapons and upgrades makes every encounter feel fresh. And there's something so addictive about uncovering the mysteries hidden in the shattered, beautiful world around you. The storytelling is surprisingly deep, with intriguing lore and a setting that feels both haunting and breathtaking at the same time. What I love most is how the game rewards exploration and skillful combat. Every time you find a new weapon or ability, it opens up entirely new ways to approach fights. And those boss battles? Man, they're the kind of epic, nerve-wracking encounters that leave your heart pounding. Steelrising nails that dark fantasy vibe while bringing something totally unique to the table. It's intense, stylish, and constantly challenging you to adapt and get better. If you're craving something fresh in the action RPG scene, this one's a must-play. Want me to write more of these? Immortal Unchained is like taking the brutal, unforgiving challenge of a Souls-like game and mixing it with hardcore tactical gunplay, and it's honestly something special. The whole sci-fi universe you get to explore feels dark, mysterious, and packed with secrets just waiting to be uncovered. You're this living weapon, an unstoppable force with access to some of the coolest firearms and abilities you could ask for. And it's not just about blasting your way through enemies. It's about strategy, positioning, and making every shot count. The game constantly forces you to adapt and rethink your approach. Every enemy encounter feels like a puzzle that needs solving. And when you finally take down a tough boss, the rush is just pure satisfaction. The level design is another standout. It's sprawling, interconnected, and absolutely dripping with atmosphere. And I love how exploration feels genuinely rewarding, with hidden areas and powerful gear waiting to be found. But what really hooked me is how Immortal Unchained doesn't hold your hand. It throws you into its unforgiving world and expects you to fight, learn, and evolve. And honestly, that's what makes it feel so rewarding. If you're into brutal tactical gameplay with a killer sci-fi twist, this is a must-play. It's punishing, it's thrilling, and it's downright addictive. Want me to write more of these? Bleak faith. Forsaken is like stepping into a nightmarish, cyber fantasy world where everything feels hostile and twisted, yet strangely captivating. From the moment you dive in, the haunting atmosphere just wraps around you, pulling you into its desolate yet beautiful world. The combat? Brutal, unforgiving, and absolutely thrilling. It forces you to think on your feet, mastering precise dodges and perfectly timed strikes to overcome all kinds of vicious enemies. What really blew me away though is the world building. The game drops you into this eerie, decaying world filled with secrets, and it feels like every corner has something fascinating to discover. There's this constant tension between exploration and survival that keeps your adrenaline pumping. And the art style? It's stunningly bleak in all the right ways, making every environment feel alive and dangerous. But it's not just about the visuals and combat, it's the way the game makes you feel truly isolated, yet determined to push forward. You're fighting against the odds, clinging to survival in a world that feels so alien, yet so meticulously crafted. If you're craving an experience that challenges your skills and immerses you in a world drenched in dark, unforgettable lore, bleak faith, Forsaken is the journey you've been waiting for. Want me to write the next one? Lies of P is an absolute gem if you're into dark, twisted tales mixed with brutal, satisfying combat. Imagine stepping into a city drenched in mystery and decay, where every encounter feels like a deadly dance of precision and strategy. The combat system is beautifully fluid, rewarding patience and skill rather than just mashing buttons, and every fight feels earned. But what really sets Lies of P apart is its storytelling. It's this dark reimagining of a classic tale, but twisted into something so hauntingly captivating you just can't pull yourself away. The world building is insane. Every little detail, from the architecture to the enemies, feels like it belongs to this warped reality. And the weapon customization? It's genius. The way you can mix and match parts to create your own killing machines makes every combat encounter feel fresh. Plus, there's this underlying tension of choice throughout the game. What kind of person will you become? It's like the game is constantly testing your morality while you slice your way through beautifully grotesque environments. If you're looking for something that feels like a hardcore dark fantasy dream with an epic twisted narrative, Lies of P is one of those games you absolutely need to experience. Want me to write the next one? Death's Gambit. Afterlife is an absolute must-play if you love challenging, atmospheric games that keep you hooked from start to finish. This game nails that punishing yet rewarding combat style that makes every victory feel like a real achievement. It's all about precision, timing, and learning from your mistakes. But what really blew me away was the sheer depth of the world building. The world feels rich and mysterious, like there's something incredible hidden around every corner. And the boss battles? They're just insane, beautifully designed. Brutal, and each one feels like a unique test of your skill. You're constantly learning, evolving, and adapting your playstyle. And that progression is so addictive. Plus, the character customization and skill trees give you so much freedom to play your way. Whether you're charging head-on or taking a more tactical approach, there's always something new to try. And the storytelling is surprisingly deep, with lore woven into every environment and encounter. Death's Gambit, Afterlife, is that perfect blend of tight gameplay, haunting visuals, and compelling storytelling that you just can't put down. If you're craving a beautifully crafted, challenging experience that genuinely respects your skills as a player, this one's an absolute masterpiece. Want me to write the next one? Sinner. Sacrifice for Redemption is one of those games that just hits different, especially if you love punishing tactical combat that demands your absolute focus. The concept alone is pure brilliance facing off against towering bosses. But instead of leveling up, you're sacrificing your own abilities to progress. It's like the game constantly asks, how far are you willing to go to seek redemption? Every boss feels like this twisted manifestation of sin, and their designs are just incredible, both terrifying and mesmerizing. And because each fight forces you to adapt and rethink your approach, the sense of satisfaction you get from beating them is off the charts. What really makes it stand out, though, is the way the game forces you to embrace your weaknesses. You're not just overcoming enemies, you're conquering your own limitations. It's a brutal but strangely poetic experience that keeps you coming back for more. The atmosphere is dark and oppressive, but that's what makes every victory feel like pure euphoria. If you're a fan of skill-based games where every decision matters, Sinner, Sacrifice for Redemption will absolutely test your resolve and reward your determination. Want me to write the next one? Black Myth. Wukong is the kind of game that just leaves you speechless. From the moment you step into its jaw-dropping world inspired by Chinese mythology, you can feel the sheer passion poured into every single detail. The combat? It's brutally satisfying. You've got this insane moveset with the power to transform into various creatures, and every encounter feels like a perfectly choreographed dance between life and death. What's crazy is how fluid and responsive everything feels. Dodging, parrying, pulling off those flashy combos, it's also seamless. And let's not forget the bosses. They're massive, menacing, and so brilliantly designed, each one demanding you to adapt and master the combat system to perfection. The world building is something else entirely. It's like stepping into a living, breathing legend where danger lurks around every corner. And yet you can't help but explore every inch of it because it's just that captivating. The visuals are beyond stunning, with an atmosphere that completely sucks you in. Black Myth. Wukong doesn't just raise the bar for action RPGs, it shatters it. It's the kind of game that makes you feel powerful and vulnerable at the same time, and that's what makes it so unforgettable. If you're even remotely a fan of challenging, story-driven experiences, this one's a must-play. Want me to write the next one? Remnant. From the Ashes is one of those games that hits you out of nowhere and leaves you hooked. It's like if Dark Souls and a third-person shooter had a beautifully twisted baby. The mix of intense gunplay and brutal melee combat feels so good, especially when you're dodging like a madman and landing those perfect hits. And the bosses? Oh man, they're epic. Each fight is like a test of skill and patience where you're constantly adapting and refining your strategy. But what really stands out is the world itself. You're thrown into this post-apocalyptic nightmare where every location feels distinct, rich with lore, and packed with hidden secrets. And the procedural generation? That's a genius touch. It keeps things fresh every time you dive back in, with new enemy placements, dungeons, and surprises waiting to keep you on your toes. What I love most, though, is how it nails that sense of progression. Finding new gear, upgrading your weapons, and building your character to fit your playstyle, it's ridiculously satisfying. And playing co-op with friends makes it all even better. Working together to survive this unforgiving world feels like such an accomplishment. Remnant, From the Ashes, is a gem that deserves way more recognition. It's challenging, addictive, and ridiculously rewarding. If you're into tough but fair action games with awesome world building and deep combat systems, this one's a no-brainer. Want me to write the next one? Lords of the Fallen 2014 is such an underrated gem for anyone who loves action RPGs with brutal combat and deep, rewarding progression. The moment you step into its dark, twisted world, you feel the weight of every decision. It's all about timing your attacks, mastering dodges, and reading enemy patterns mess up, and you're gonna pay the price. But that's what makes it so satisfying when you finally take down a boss that's been giving you hell.
We have seen with others what happens next. Eyesight goes first.
The atmosphere is incredible, with its grim and detailed environments that really make you feel like you're trudging through this unforgiving, ruined world. And the character building system? It's top-notch. You've got so many ways to tweak your playstyle, whether you prefer crushing enemies with heavy weapons or dancing around them with speed and finesse. What's even cooler is how the game encourages experimentation. Switching between weapons, armor, and magic to find the perfect combo that suits your playstyle. is just so addicting. And let's not forget those boss battles. Each one feels unique, demanding strategy and precision if you want to survive. Honestly, if you're into punishing but fair combat systems that reward patience and skill, Lords of the Fallen is a must-play. It might not have the polish of its bigger budget competitors, but its charm lies in how raw and challenging it feels. It's one of those games that sticks with you long after you've put down the controller. Want me to write the next one? And there you have it, folks. 20 incredible Souls-like games that prove this genre's brilliance extends far beyond FromSoftware's masterpieces. It's fascinating how so many developers have embraced the challenge, pushing the boundaries of combat, storytelling, and world building in their own creative ways. I'm Abdul Wahab, and this is proawplayer. Just a passionate gamer sharing some of the most gripping experiences the gaming world has to offer. But now, I want to hear from you. Which of these games surprised you the most? And are there any hidden gems I might have missed? Let's keep the conversation going down in the comments, because at the end of the day, it's all about sharing our love for these incredible games. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to catch you all in the next one.